Welcome back to Enugu State, southeast Nigeria. Protesters who are agitating for a sovereign state of Biafra gathered on major streets chanting and calling for the release of their leader, supposedly detained by the Department of State Security. The youth, mostly between the ages of as little as 10 years old and 36, say they want to be by themselves. Our correspondent Charles Aruka reports.
The normally placid streets of Enugu burst into intense activity for probably the wrong reasons.
Release our director! We want our freedom!
A small crowd of youths flying what they call the Biafran flag line the streets to lend their voice to the latest agitations for a separate entity and in defiance to police warnings.
The armies and SACs and police came in that summit road. They shot tear gas at us, but we didn't run. They shot tear gas again and we didn't run. But when they look at it that we are gallant, that we are not afraid, they begin to shoot at us.
So, and what we want to tell the Nigerian government is to release our leader. Because if they don't release our leader, we are telling you by the time we are going to do another mega protest. This one, you will know that this one is just a child's play.
In response to the protesters' allegation that some of them were shot by security operatives, the Enugu State Police Command insists that the demonstrations have so far been peaceful and there's been no violence anywhere.
All of a sudden, someone is seen, coming up, and in their large numbers. So in that case, what we will try to do is to manage the situation so that it does not degenerate into an uncontrollable situation, because it might even try to, whatever thing you do might even meet resistance, and in that case, you begin to talk about genocide, and we don't want to be identified with that. So we just carefully try to manage the situation and watch out for what we are looking for.
It's most unlikely that any of the protesters experienced the events of the original Biafra, but their agitation for the resurrection of a best forgotten point in history has to be handled delicately but firmly before it gets out of hand. Charles Aruka for Channels Television News.
From the southeast to the north central, things seem not to be going well at the Kwara State University, Malete, as both the management and academic staff are embroiled in crisis due to recent suspension of 6 lecturers at Kwara State University. While the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Rashid Nala, justified the suspension on lack of permit from the lecturers and rough handling of the chief security officers who challenged them, the lecturers, on their part, traced the history of the suspension to agitation to unionize, which the school refused to acknowledge.
Some people occupied an academic space, a group. And the chief security officer of the university went to say, excuse me, he was trying to speak to a leader or two of them, that you have no permission, you've not received university's permission to occupy this space. And suddenly, some of them were removing their clothes, trying to hit, trying to beat, embarrassing, saying all sorts of things to the chief security officer of the university. So, and when it happened, university didn't even take any action until a report came from the chief security officer that now detailed what happened. No serious university anywhere in the world will keep quiet to that. So all we did was to look at those people who actually took that kind of actions, or those who feel as a university is responsible for what has happened.
And news across Nigeria ends on a note of nutrition and food and a warning. The Ogun State government in southwest Nigeria has confirmed the existence of toxic pomo laced with chemicals across markets in the state, asking residents to be careful and watchful while buying the popular local meat. According to the State Commissioner for Agriculture, Ronke Shokefun, the pomo were made from rawhide and skins meant for leather production, imported from Europe and some countries like Sudan, Italy, and Japan. So they're meant for making shoes and not for your belly. Although no casualty has been recorded thus far, but the commissioner insists this pomo is not good for human consumption.
cowhide delicacy, locally known as kanda in the north, akpukpano in the most parts of the southeast, and kpomo in the southwest. With no known nutritional value, kpomo, which is the most popular name for it, is loved by a fairly large percentage of the populace. But there's a downside. Initial investigations by the Ogun State Ministry of Agriculture has revealed that some people are taking advantage of the huge market and are importing animal skin laden with tannin, biocides and fungicides.
The gentlemen of the vet department of the ministry went out, and indeed they found out that there was indeed a toxic kpomo in the market. We interfaced with NAFDAC. They looked in detail at what is different between this specific variety and the one that we're used to, and we found a lot of anomalies, and then, like I said, investigations commenced. They found out that the importer had actually gotten approval to bring in hides and skin for processing for shoes and what have you, but typically with fraudulent businessmen, they converted the use for everyday consumption, something that's already been treated with chemicals, which ordinarily human beings are not supposed to eat.
So what are the physical features possessed by this toxic kpomo, which has found its way to various markets across the state? Well, it's said to come with an offensive odor and abnormal thickness.
We thought to alert members of the public. As I described it in detail, it is between brown and black. It's not like the real brown kpomo that we know, the smoked one, or the white one, which we all are familiar with. This is brownish black. It is excessively thick. If you look at it, indeed, you will see that it's excessively thick and has semblance of fat even floating on it. The smell is appalling. You can't not even be around where it is. And people who are ignorant call it imported kpomo. There's nothing like imported kpomo. So we are still telling members of the public, please desist from buying this particular variety of kpomo.
And in order to clear this dangerous commodity from the market, the state, in conjunction with the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has begun further investigation into its importation.
And also keep in mind, kpomo every day does not keep the doctor away. That's it on News Across Nigeria. I'm Olumide Macaulay. See you again.